I love Dragon Ball, yo. If I had to choose between watching an episode of Dragon Ball and getting my dick sucked, I'm choosing Dragon Ball. If you didn't watch Dragon Ball or Naruto growing up, you're not a real Nah, but shout out to Donuts. I grew up on Dragon Ball. My childhood was Dragon Ball. In fact, I mainly learned Dragon Ball through Dragon Ball games. I had all the Budokais, all the Tenkaichis, First Limit. I even had Sagas, man.
What is this move? What was that?
So trust me when I say I know a few things about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball games. We had some good times, and then there were some really dark times as the years went on with Dragon Ball games. After Xenoverse came out, ultimately I was just ready to give up on anime games altogether because they just weren't doing it for me at the time. As I was starting to get more into traditional fighting games, I wanted something with more depth, and it was a dream if that could somehow happen with Dragon Ball. When they announced Dragon Ball FighterZ at that one Evo at that Xbox event, I absolutely geeked, son. Like, I was yelling at the top of my lungs. Like, I woke up my damn roommate at the time. It was crazy. Like, it was like uncontrollable. Like, I never reacted like that, like at anything, not even since, man. It's like my inner child just burst out. I don't know, he just got really excited. But ever since then, I religiously followed this game. I'm talking every article, every new video, all the before launch tournaments, the closed to open beta. I even watched every single major tournament this game had to this day. It's my favorite game of all time. As a Dragon Ball and fighting game fan who was just getting into the scene, it came out at the perfect time for me, and I was trying to learn fighting games. Now I'm sponsored to play fighting games. Shout out to Altair Esports, shout out to the gang, even though I do be dropping combos. With all that said, it's safe to say that I know a little something about this game. So here's what I think they should do for Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. So number one, do I even think they should make a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2? Man, hell nah. I'm not trying to wait that long for a sequel. We've already been waiting over 2 years for rollback netcode since they announced it, and my patience is completely gone at this point. I think the community has been more than patient, and we deserve something ASAP. My guy at the World Tour Finals said it was closer than we think. To me, that reads as March. So if it's not announced by that time, then the whole entire community is coming for you, bro. All four of us. Haruki knew not to pull up to the finals because she knew it was going to be smoke, because I think a full-blown sequel wouldn't be best in general. I think the foundation they've already built is fine, and on its own, it would be somewhat of a waste of time, money, and resources to build all-new fighters from the ground up. That time will be better spent making an all-new anime fighting game with an iconic IP. So what they should do is obvious. Given the recent history, they should give it the Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising treatment. Everything they're doing in Rising has been amazing, and it's 100% revived the game, and that's exactly what FighterZ needs right now. Spark to the flame. It would be called Super Dragon Ball FighterZ. So instead of a whole sequel, they'll make some sort of Ultimate Edition with all new features that people have been dying for this game. It makes sense because everything new that they've added to this game has been mostly reused assets anyway. That being said, this wouldn't be just the same game with all characters unlocked and rollback netcode. To be honest, that would be the bare minimum at this point. So what new features will this Ultimate version have? Let's get the big one out the way first. I'm gonna hit y'all with my personal DLC character list that I think they should add to this game. Anyone who plays this game knows that these characters' moves are referenced straight from the source material, whether it's the manga, anime, or sometimes other video games, unless they're an original character. So each character would need a little something to build the character from. Side note, I personally believe every character in this game has a justified spot on the roster. And if you think they missed someone, then I think there's a good reason why they didn't make the roster initially. I see no misses. But with that said, let's get to my first pick, and that being Raditz. The community has been asking for Raditz, and I think they should make it official. People shit on him a lot because he was the first villain of Z, so they throw him in the weak category compared to future villains, but I disagree. They still had to jump my mans just to beat him. Also, if you really think about it, the thing that makes Goku so strong besides protagonist power is them Bardock genes. That bloodline is just built different, so best believe if Raditz was still alive, he could have had way more potential. But honestly, they've only been moving towards the future with all the more recent DLC characters, so it'd be good to bring it back and see if they can make a really cool moveset for this character. Number 2, I'm going Zarbon. Might not be a popular pick, but I'm curious to see what they can do between his normal form and his beast form. Again, I think he can make a really cool moveset. Maybe summon Dodoria or something. I don't know. Maybe all those lackeys and I don't know, something. I think he can do some cool shit. For number 3, I'm done messing around with y'all. I'm going with the world champ, Mr. Satan. A fun kind of joke character would be great for this kind of game. We already got joke full screen moves with invincibility that hit you from half screen that are also TOD starters. So let's get a character that's either going to make you laugh or bring the salt out. Either way, it fits the game perfectly. So he's definitely not going to have float. He probably won't be able to vanish either. And he'll probably just spot dodge like Goodell. Or roll dodge. But strap a jetpack to my man and watch the DLC sales skyrocket. I think this would be a fun character. For number 4, I'm going with Mr. Satan actually. Demon King Deborah. Just like Chaozu, he would have Babidi as a summon, but he would be just way stronger and can do way more things. He would be able to summon like Pui Pui and all those other weirdo dudes, I don't know. Also, Deborah would have his spit mechanic that would turn people into stone. It would be similar to Majin Buu's Fat Toss, but you can actually still do damage while they're frozen and still go for setups and even a reset. Plus, he has history with some of the cast already, so it's always good for win quotes, intros, and outros. I know we already have a demon with a sword in the game, but what's one more? And speaking of one more, I gotta go with my guy, Majin Vegeta. I know that there are already a lot of Gokus in the game, but we need one more Vegeta to even it out, and I think this is the perfect choice. I think he would have such a savage moveset, and the obvious dramatic finish with the final explosion. Such an iconic moment, man. It writes itself. For number 6, we taking it to Super with Bergamo. I think his growth mechanic would be super cool for this game. I doubt they can make his model physically grow throughout the match as he takes damage, but he'd be able to grow briefly for his level 1 or even level 3 Super. And based on how low his health is, it would multiply his damage output. Another thing they would add is his brothers. Basil to shoot projectiles, and Lavender so he can do poison damage. And the very obvious Triangle Danger Beam for the level 3. I mean, they're freaking werewolves, man. What do you want from me? For 7 and 8, I'm going with Moro and Granola. I think it would catch a lot of people off guard to add characters that haven't been adapted to anime or game form yet. These are 2 of the newer characters from the manga, and I found them to be competent enough characters with strong enough motivation. Also, out of all the newer characters, I think they have the stronger designs. But please don't take the goat face away from Moro. That's honestly it for my personal list, but for 9 and 10, I'll have to say Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo. I'm not too big of a fan of these characters. Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo is just the laziest naming ever in like anime. Like, I like Orange Piccolo's designs, and Beast Gohan is kind of just, you know, really spiky hair. But his level 3 will look excellent animated by Arc System in this game. I can take it or leave him, but I just know that since these 2, the new hotness from the new Dragon Ball Super movie, these 2 characters are pretty much a guarantee. Everyone else is kind of just an honorable mention. Honestly, I would really like to have Oob in this game and Pycon. As far as the other honorable mentions, I'm going to have to go with Bojack, Toppo, Jacko, Pan, and Omega Shenron. I just feel like his spikes would be way too hard to animate and they'd just be clipping through everything. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Is there anybody you think I missed? Let me know in the comments down below. The fact that over a 6-year period we only got 1 new stage added to this game is a crime against the FGC. I'm genuinely curious what technical or business issue made them not move forward with new stages. In Super Dragon Ball FighterZ, they need to double, no, triple the amount of stages added to this game. I never knew how much new stages were needed and how much they breathe new life into a game until you stare at Cell Games Arena for the better part of 5 years. New stages just give the game that fresh coat of paint it desperately needs. Like, there's just too many options you can go with. Like, you got Hyperbolic Time Chamber, Kame House, Tournament of Power, Red Ribbon Army Base, Fierce Point, Iceland, Desert, Yamcha's Hideout, Snake Way. Like, where the hell is Hell Stage? You know? Where's Inside Boost Stage? Like, what the fuck are we doing right now? Kame Lookout, like, we're missing classics, guys. Come on. Like I mentioned before in Rising, Arcs has proved that not only can they add costumes and colors, but they can add items to the models as well. Where's the Saiyan Scouters at, man? Why can't we choose Ultra Instinct Black or Sign or whatever? Like I said, these options add a fresh coat of paint to the game. The modders have been proving this for years, and they still do. Trunks without his jacket, Saiyan Armor Krillin, Saiyan Armor Gohan, Yardrat Goku, Badman Vegeta, Original Gi Tien, Desert Thief Yamcha, Great Saiyan Man number 2, Mecha Frieza, Jackie Chun, Future Gohan, Pedestrian Piccolo. Like, 18 got mad fits. Arcsys, do y'all not like money? Like, this is a no-brainer. Don't even get me started on the colors, man. Y'all need to go Skullgirls with these colors, dog. It's too easy at this point. So mechanically, this game needs a serious overhaul. I'm not going to go too much on the buffs because these last few patches, the buffs have been, let's just say, plentiful. Happy Birthdays absolutely suck in this game and they need to just work. Like, just work. Apart from full screen moves that take away any neutral this game may have had, off rip, all I can think about is Vegeta Blue EX Command Grab is a crime, EX Perfect Attack is a crime, GT Goku Reverse Kamehameha with the invincible movement, it's just dumb. Like I shouldn't have to explain how fighting games are a lot about risk and reward. Making moves literally brain dead while being safe is just ridiculous. The amount of times I read safe on whiff or less recovery on whiff or something to that effect in these last 2 patch notes should honestly never be a thing in any fighting game. This is why the majority of the top competitive players quit this game. No more Woo Woo, no more Go 1, no more Kazo, no more Noko, no more Lord Knight, Dogura, Reino, the Kill Sage, no more Kaiden. I don't know why Kaiden quit actually, but I miss him. I miss Nokami too as well. Apart from us being in the fighting game renaissance right now with more options of games to play than ever, I think that if there was ever a time to dial it back and revert some changes so they can bring back some of the things that required some skill to do, I'd say it's now. It's either now or never. I say listen to the pros on this one. A lot of them have a bunch of wisdom on what they think could fix the game, and a lot of it seems reasonable. I'm not going back to Season 2 though, y'all can keep that shit. So how do we go about adding new in-game features? Well, there's a very simple answer to that, and that's transformations or installs. In Rising, we've seen that they're capable of adding new moves and animations to already existing sprite models. So I think the best thing to do to make an already established roster feel fresh is to add moves by giving everyone a transformation. They've mentioned how they wanted to implement transformations and even flying in the game in prior interviews, and while I already love the fast-paced movement of the game without flying, I think transformations can solve a lot of the problems the game has. Let's take Hyper Dragon Ball Z for example, a free indie fighting game that a lot of people should check out. It's still in slow development to this day, but I know they're making strides for a new engine that has rollback netcode. This game does a lot of things right as a Dragon Ball game and a lot of things right as a fighting game, but what I felt like it does best is the installs. With these installs, you get all new moveset that is way more powerful than the base form, and they're all unique. For example, base Goku can get Kaioken and can special cancel his moves over and over again. Super Saiyan Goku can do instant transmission and continuously teleport all across the screen. The same can be implemented in the fighters. It can cost a bar, or they could potentially try to build a whole separate bar. It could be a permanent install, they could have a time limit, or it can be one where they burn all their meter and then the transformation runs out. If you don't want to take out those ridiculous moves like the EX Perfect Attack or the Vegeta Blue EX Command Grab, you could put these broken ass moves as part of the install moveset. Base Vegeta can have a great 8 level 3 like Super Baby. Super Perfect Cell can call Cell Jr. Even characters who aren't known for transformation would still get some kind of buff with their install, and it would give them something unique. And of course you would still add the already established buffs that you get in the game, like double air dashes and reverse beat. More examples can be something like androids build meter naturally over time. You get my point. The possibilities are literally endless, and it would give players a fresh moveset to lab with their characters that they've been playing for years. What y'all think? Am I cooking or am I smoking? Shout out to Hyper Dragon Ball Z. If you don't think any of these installs or transformations would do anything to help the game, then I invite you to download this game and you tell me for yourself. Install this game, come back and tell me that shit isn't hype. So I don't believe they need to add an extra chapter to the story mode or anything else story-wise. I think the story was what it was, and they could add more if they wanted to, and I think the cutscenes seem easy to animate as well, but it's not needed. They could definitely work with more villains this time around, but I will say the arena match modes that are somehow online only need to be added to the offline modes. That can be so fun to just mess around with all these different modifiers. And as long as rollback with online modes work, like the raids, tournaments, and party battles, then that pretty much answers itself as far as the rest of the content of the game goes. So yeah, that's everything I think this game needs that would basically revive it from the dead. I know that there's a plethora of fighting games out right now, but a lot of people still want that versus fighting game itch to be scratched. With new characters, new stages, new costumes and colors, a better balance and rollback netcode, this could not only revive the game, but ensure a guaranteed spot as the future of Dragon Ball FighterZ as one of the greatest fighting games of all time. That is what I genuinely believe. But let me know what y'all think. Do you agree? Do y'all think I don't know what I'm talking about? Either way, I'm going to be playing this game forever because despite all the changes, it's still mad fun to this day. One last thing, I just want to shout out my locals. If you're on the East Coast or live in the Tampa or Orlando area, I gotta show some love to my TOs and my local communities here in Tampa. Number one, I gotta shout out to the Kame crew, which was started by my friends who are strictly dedicated to playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. So if you want to still show love to this dead game, if you're on the East Coast or if you're in Tampa and you want to practice with local Dragon Ball FighterZ players, join the Kame crew Discord and on Facebook. Next, I'm gonna shout out Tampa Gaming Dojo, hosted by Bob. This is for all types of fighting games, and we just had our first Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament just this last month. But if you're into Street Fighter, Tekken, Grand Blue, Marvel, whatever, Bob's got you covered. They play any and pretty much all fighting games. There's casuals, there's tournaments. So if you want to meet up at our local barcade, it's always going to be a good time. Third, I want to talk about 1v1 Wii Pro Gaming, run by my friend Alex. It's on a bit of a hiatus right now, but when we were running it all last year, we were running online weeklies, there were some major tournaments, and there were some first and sevens. So when that comes back, it'll probably be bigger than ever. So if you want to play competitive fighting games online on the East Coast, whether it's Street Fighter, Tekken, MK, he's also got you covered there. I had to shout out these places because you'd be surprised on how many people in Tampa don't think that there's a local scene in Tampa. They honestly just didn't know. And lastly, I want to thank my sponsor, Altair Productions, Altair Esports, Simple Tricks, Kid Frost, Mr. Mulatto, ABY, Zan. We taking the